Baseball Podcast, bringing you our second segment, which is our third segment, which is going to be talking about the Cody Bellinger injury for the Chicago Cubs. Now, this was something that actually broke on air yesterday, while I was on my show. I was going over my first and second segments, and I got notified that Cody Bellinger would be placed on the injured list with a fractured rib by the Cubs, and he would be out for a pretty significant amount of time, apparently. As Craig Counsell put it, he doesn't really know when they're getting him back, which, if I'm a betting man, is not a good sign. It's not really something you want to hear from your manager. He doesn't know when he's going to get one of his better players back, so that's not great. And we also got the news they called up one of their top prospects and one of the top prospects in baseball, Pete Crow Armstrong, to fill in his spot. So, yeah, I'm just going to talk about this situation and Bellinger's injury impact on the Cubs, and let's get into it. So, with Bellinger, obviously he signed very late back to the Cubs. We were pretty into spring training at that point. Was part of the illustrious Boris 4 that I talked about every single day before the season started, because there was not much to talk about, and they were there. They were still on the market, so I talked about them. But got off to a little bit of a rough start with the Cubs to start the year after signing late, but was really heating up at the end before he got hurt. You look at his season stats now, they're pretty great. 760 OPS, 111 OPS plus. Really, really solid, I'd say, really good. Started off, again, just not in the best way, not really the way you wanted to. I think it was because of the pressure of signing late. He still did get some spring training, but not, I'd say, as much as other players or, most players, I'd say. So I think that was kind of on Bellinger's mind as well, that he didn't get as much of a time to prepare. He didn't sign before, so he didn't really know where he was going. He had to get back to Chicago, probably figure out a place again. He probably sold that place. He didn't know if he was coming back, but so I think all of that was an impact on Bellinger and the Cubs, and just the impact on the way he was performing. So, but now you see him getting more comfortable being back with the Cubs, getting more comfortable into the season, and you see his numbers start to go up. You see him having a 111 OPS plus, 760 OPS, being an above average hitter again. So overall, just a really nice job for him to get back and get back to being who he is and being back to Cody Bellinger. He's had a very, very up and down past few years, being really bad with the Dodgers since winning that MVP, going to the Cubs, having a great season. Teams not believing that the season was for real, so not getting a long-term contract and signing back with the Cubs on a short-term one. So, it's been a very interesting past few years for Bellinger, but it looks like he's finally found a home in Chicago, which is really nice. But this injury is very unfortunate. Again, he was starting to get hot. He's a big part of this Cubs lineup, and the thing about him is, even when he's not hitting, he still is going to play great defense. He still is going to be a leader in that clubhouse. He's going to give you good at bats. So his defense is one of his biggest strengths, and so even when he isn't hitting, he provides a lot of value. So that's why he is a really good player, and I think that's part of his allure as a player, part of why a lot of teams are interested in him, and why he is such a good player. So I do think this is going to hurt the Cubs a lot. I think, again, Bellinger was a big part of their team, a big part of their identity. So losing him for, as we know of, an undefined amount of time, basically, we don't really know how long he is going to be out because of this injury. It is unfortunate, and it is something that you don't really want to see if you're a Cubs fan, and you were hoping not to see, but just kind of how things go. But the good news is you get to see Pete Crow Armstrong now, and he gets to play every day because he is going to fill in Bellinger's spot. He is a center field prospect. One of the reasons I didn't think Bellinger was going to re-sign with the Cubs whenever I predicted the Boris 4 was because of Pete Crow Armstrong. I thought Pete Crow Armstrong was the Cubs center fielder of the future. I thought re-signing Bellinger would have blocked PCA, and that's why it would have made no sense to re-sign Bellinger and get him back. So that I think it just shows how high I am on Pete Crow Armstrong, and it just shows how high other people are on Pete Armstrong, because this guy is legit. This guy is a top 20 prospect in baseball. He has an elite glove. He's going to be one of the best fielders, one of the best center fielders in baseball, one of the best defensive players in baseball, probably right away. He has great speed, knows how to run the bases, can hit decent. I think once his hitting talent does develop a little bit more, he's going to be one of the better players in baseball. But it's a guy who was a first-round pick by the Mets, traded in a big trade to get Javier Baez for half a season where the Mets didn't even make the playoffs. That trade, as a Mets fan, that trade still haunts me to this day, and was one of the worst things that happened to us in a long time. But even though Baez was good with us, but so for me, for PCA, what are my expectations for him now that he is going to be called up? He was called up actually already today by the Cubs. Now that he is going to be playing every day for the Cubs, so my personal opinion is he's going to be a really good MLB player from the start. I think if the Cubs keep him up, I think he is going to be very, very good, and I think he's going to be a significant contributor. Now, the problem with PCA is you don't really know how long he's going to be playing every day. You don't know when Bellinger's coming back. You don't know if Bellinger's going to play a different position or PCA is, and you're going to keep them. The problem is Pete Armstrong, most of his value comes from how good he is in center field. The problem is so does Bellinger's. So you move either one of them, you're losing a lot of what makes them such a great player. So that's why I didn't think it made sense to re-sign Bellinger, and I didn't think he was a long-term piece of this team. I still don't think he is. I think he's going to opt out after this year and sign with some team on a long-term deal that needs a center fielder or a left-handed bat. So that's really what I think. But overall, for Pete Armstrong, I think if you're a Cubs fan, you kind of just have to hope that he plays great defense. I think that's a given. But he has an OPS around 720, 730, maybe an OPS plus of 102, 103, 104, just barely above league average. So I think that's really what you want to project with Pete Crow for his first few years. Just be a above league average hitter and a guy who can play great defense for your team. So that's really what I think his skill set is in. I think that's what his skill set is involved in. So if you're a Cubs fan, I think, again, that's what you're watching with Pete Crow. You're not watching how well he's going to hit, or not. I'd say, of course, you want him to hit well, but not. You don't want him. You're not going to be watching him trying to be a superstar. He's not going to be one of those big hitting lefty bats that just comes up right away and is a big part of your lineup. No, but he's going to be a really solid player. That's going to run the bases well. That's going to field well. That maybe lays down a bunt or two. Plays amazing defense. So that's really what you're watching with Pete Crow. But again, it is unfortunate for the Cubs that Bellinger just get hurt right when he was starting to heat up, and I think that's an unfortunate injury for them. But I also think it is a really good opportunity for the Cubs to see what they have in one of their top prospects in Pete Armstrong, a guy who is a future of this organization, who is one of their top prospects, has been for a long time. So I think that's really what you're excited about with the silver lining of this Bellinger injury. So that's really what I'm watching here, and that's really what I'm going to be seeing when I watch this guy. So now going to a little bit of a outlook for the Chicago Cubs. Now, so far in the season, the Cubs have been doing pretty well, I'd say. They're second in the NL Central, one game behind the Brewers for the lead, 15-9. If the season ended today, they would make the playoffs. They would be the top wild card team at 15-9. So that's a solid there. So a lot of it has to do, I think, that their pitching staff to me has been honestly pretty phenomenal. You've had bounce-back seasons from a guy like Jameson Taillon. Shota Managa's been really good. Even without your ace in Justin Steele, I think that your team has been really good and your pitching staff's been really good, which is something that is a big positive because when you do get Steele back, it's going to be even better. For the pitching right now, with the guys that have made significant starts, they've all been pretty good. I mean, you have Jordan Wicks, who has a 4.70 ERA, not the best, but definitely not bad. And for a rookie, I think that's really good. Shota Managa, .84 ERA, which has been really great. Javier Assad, 2.11. Ben Brown, 3.72. Jameson Taillon, 1.69. Steele, even in his one start, was really solid. So I think right now, if you're a Cubs fan, you're really, really excited about this pitching. I mean, it's just been really, really good. It's been one of the biggest bright spots of your entire team so far. So that's what I'm watching if I'm a Cubs fan right now, just seeing if the pitching can continue playing like this, if it can continue performing like this, and just keeps this up, really. So if I'm a Cubs fan, that's what I'd be excited about for this future and for this season. The pitching has been a really, really big bright spot, even without their best one. So that's a really big positive. For the Cubs, you've had Nico Horner playing great. Michael Busch has been an amazing player since coming over from the Dodgers. Mike Tauchman has been surprisingly really, really good. Dansby Swanson hasn't been the best, but hasn't been horrible either. Miguel Amaya has been really solid at the catching position. You have Seiya Suzuki, who before he got hurt was doing outstanding. Ian Happ's doing his thing. Alexander Canario, in the little at-bats he did have, was doing really well. Bellinger, again, before he got hurt, was doing well. So the Cubs are having a lot of good things going for them right now. A lot of good pieces are performing. A lot of good players are doing well. So if I'm a Cubs fan, I'd be really excited about this, and just really watching this team for this year and seeing how players perform and how they are doing. So yeah, that's really what I'm watching for them. I think they are a wild card level team. I think their pitching, when healthy, is one of the best in baseball currently. I think their lineup has a lot of good pieces. So I think this could be the year the Cubs get back into the playoffs and make their fan base happy. One of the better fan bases in all of MLB. So yeah, that's really what I'm watching. Just seeing how the Cubs do perform down the stretch with all the injuries they've suffered now. Cody Bellinger, Justin Steele, Seiya Suzuki got really hit hard by that injury bug, but you're hoping some of your depth guys and some of your prospects, like Canario, like Beaker Armstrong, can fill in and do really well and help you out. Ben Brown as well, who I forgot in the pitching staff. So Cubs prospect depth is coming in handy right now, and it's being a big help for them. So hopefully the Cubs can continue doing really well, and just watching them down the stretch and seeing how they do perform. So yeah. That was the end of our third segment here. We'll be going to our fourth segment, which is talking about the Players Weekend returning for MLB. This is one of my favorite things in all of the sport. It is finally returning. I don't know why it ever was not here. So, yeah, we'll be talking about that, and we'll see you after the break. So, thanks and bye.